Thank you for tuning in to another Money Monday, the Blackskins podcast. Welcome. As you see, we family. We family. So that's why we need to talk about the Blackskins and the family of tribes that have been placed all around the world. We left Africa before it even had the name Africa. We were in America before they even had a name America. So it's tough for me personally to buy in to the whole point of being called or labeled African American. Because like I said, my people left Africa before they ever even called it Africa. And my people have been in the Americas before they ever even called it America. So how can you claim me black skin as an African American? I don't know how you ever could get to that point. But are we family? Well, the Creator know who we put together. Like-mindedness creates family. So thank you for tuning in on this Money Monday. Money Monday. Not just having a fun day, but let's get into what is truly going to take for the Blackskins to get their money in order. First of all, money. I'm not talking about printed bills. I'm not talking about fictitious numbers in a bank account. I'm talking about the goods, the services, the land, the real things that command value. Those are the things that we need to be focused upon, not just the dollars. And two, having a strategic plan to get the best out of your circumstance. A strategic plan is going to be an outline of how you use your time to get your money or your income or your streams of income. Do you have to continue just exchanging your time for funds? Or can you figure out a way to get funds regardless of what time it is, even when you're sleeping, that you have figured out the wisdom of financial literacy, the wisdom of truly putting your time in order to win, mean you're going to delegate your time accordingly. Many times in my life, I've had a routine. And by having a routine, it makes things easier to execute. It makes things easier to formulate when you have a consistent schedule, whether it's a daily schedule, a weekly schedule, a monthly schedule. I mean, some people are so far strategically planned that they may have an annual schedule. And the better we can schedule our time, the better we can utilize our time for not just going out trying to make money, but going about preparing yourself for the future, being a student of life, meaning you're ever learning. You are always giving yourself a reflective time where you're thinking about what you're doing now and planning how can I do better in the future. And also making sure that you have quality time with your family. You can't have extremely great quality time without resources. but how are you being resourceful with your resources so that you can have a productive and enjoyable time with your family? The best investments I've ever seen anybody make wasn't in Apple or Amazon. The truest outcomes that I've seen in life came about from people investing time and energy in their family. They took the money that they'd earned, they took the money that they had been blessed with, they took the money that they finessed, they took the money that they were blessed with, and made sure that they invested in their family schooling, invested in their family's activities, invested in their family's education, vacations, and all of these investments over time, making sure you take your children to the games, making sure all of the AAU dues are paid, making sure that anytime a field trip come about that's going to educate your children, you allow them to participate in. You make whatever sacrifices necessary so they can have food, shelter, and clothing so they can go and educate themselves as they're coming up as a youngster so they can figure out what it is in this world that they want to do. What is it that they're able to pursue because you invested in them? Investing time, not just money. Spending time with your children, learning who they are, learning what they are thinking, and being able to mold them into the productive citizen that you want them to be, where they can earn and have their turn at learning what life is about. On this Money Monday, we want to not just look at money from one aspect, but we want to really give the vision of what we hope Money Monday to be and what we want to see as an outcome over the years from doing Money Monday every Monday indefinitely. The greatest part of my thinking when it comes to money, the reason why this is topic number one, is because this is what really lays on my heart when we talk about money. And that's equity, not equality. I want equity, not just for me, but now I have a family tree. I have a junior, I have a second son, and I have a daughter. I got two princes and a princess. And I want them to be blessed to have a piece of a profitable corporation, institution, and or farm. I want them to own land. I want them to have the deed to the land. I want their property taxes to already be paid out for 25 to 50 years where they have a bond with the city or the county in which they have properties in where their taxes have already been paid in advance and the county has to give them interest payments to help with future tax assessment payments. That's what I want them to have. I want them to have equity in firms, whether they own the firm or not completely, whether they only got a 10% equity stake in the firm or they got a 5% equity stake. I want them to have ownership. Ownership is the second topic because equality does not always mean that you're going to get equity. Equality could just mean, well, they got 5 jobs for these people and we want 5 jobs for us. Well, the jobs sound great, but if I can't say I want to groom my son for my position if I can't stay on the board, and if I can't stay in the position because somebody has the authority to replace me or chase me away from the institution, it's an illusion for us to think that we can have any legacy there. We can put as much work in as we would want to, but that don't mean we could bring forth our generational wealth path through that opportunity. I want to be able to create something where today I'm sitting in the chair and tomorrow a younger version of me can be sitting there. We all want to be able to pass on our niches and the things in which we build with our own hand to our little man or our baby girl. And that's all about building the family. The family. It ain't no more to it than being able to pursue your dreams for multiple generations. Because you can start off one vision. You can start off buying a land and only being able to develop the land a little bit. But then when your son sit at the table, he could be in a position where he is resourceful and he sees ways in which he can extend that which the family brought in from the beginning. So I've had the honor of seeing men who went about having a vision for their family and buying and acquiring pieces of land. And I saw them start the plan. And then, of course, they got eldered in age and they had to raise their children. So the mission may have not taken them as far down the road as they wanted to, but they had children, and their children got a chance to witness and see their father's ambitions and their father's struggles. And when they got in and they took it over, they were able to utilize today's technologies, today's innovations, and they was able to penetrate greater and do it to a degree where they could be a motivator to others around them. And they were able to surround themselves with thought processes of how to be productive and progressive with what they already had and what they did to extend from where the previous generation had been was the beauty of it all. Because the true legacy is a legacy of growth, a dynasty. When a king's son takes reign and the next generation is able to gain, and they continue to generation upon generation going out and doing just a little bit better. And a little bit better every generation, once you done already got yourself together, is a great blessing. So the lesson of it all is we must be stakeholders. We can't just be taking orders and being supporters without being able to have a stake and claim in the game. And the game of resources, the game of economics, is always monopoly. Who has the land? And then who has the strategic master urban plan where you can develop said land and do something productive with it, whether it's a farm, whether it's industrial, whether you get into manufacturing, whether you building communities or doing real estate development. How are you taking that land and allowing that land to bring forth revenue? In order for these things to truly happen economically, for Money Mondays to have any real value, our greatest achievement a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, is that we have to be able to enable syndicates. And whether we just start with one on year one and then by year two, we're able to do 2 different places, we have to be able to establish syndications so we can get our vindication in this nation, because this land is your land, and your land has to have a resourceful plan. You want to get money. Money is not just them greenbacks. Money is the cattle. Money is the hay. Money is the lavish pastures. Money is the farms producing. Money is the harvest. Money is the things that you go out and you spend your money on. The utilities, money. The food that you get at Walmart, money. The goods that you need to improve your home from Lowe's, money. The clothes that you go to the mall and spin and ball, money. The drinks and drugs that sometimes can cause you fall, money. Money is something that people try their best to learn how to earn. But do you recognize the spiritual aspects of money? That the Creator got to anoint you and appoint you the authority to have and to be able to deliver your ability to give others an opportunity. Now, integrity and morality are attached to money, because you can say, I want to do things the right way. And doing things the right way may have you in the tight way, where you ain't able to really bloom the way you want to, because the rules are keeping you behind the line. But then again, you can say, hell with rules. Hell with being moral. Hell with being a man with integrity. I'm going to make it however I can. If I can take it, I will. If I will steal, then I will be willing to kill, to shield those from knowing who I truly am. Don't expose me. And some people will do any and everything to stay in a position of having money. And then when people know that you have money, they don't always address you the same way. They don't always bless you the same way, especially when they know who you really are. When they feel as if they can use what they know about you to be able to take advantage of what you got and get it for themselves. When they want to extort you, or when they want to escort you to the line of shame, where they talk about how they'll throw dirt on your name because they know your dirt and they'll expose it. And your accounts, they froze it if they interrogate you and figure out that it is true, that you ain't the person you presented yourself to be, that you went about getting money wrongfully. Looking at it from the perspective of those who chose to get their coin in order, to get their cash in order, but they didn't do it with the blessing of the Most High. They didn't do it with a positive spirit or a positive communication with others. They didn't want to be a brother's keeper. They were one who went about being a brother sleeper. Put a brother to sleep so you can keep your interest. Not just talking about credit, but your interest in getting your ill-gotten gains continuously. And on this Money Monday, we have to be able to see that all money ain't good money. All money ain't coming from good folks with good intentions for you. Sometimes people give to you only so they can say that they did something that made their own guilty feelings go away. And people have guilty feelings because they know they lied on you. People have guilty feelings because they know that they tried to manipulate you. People know that they wore disguises and they act like they were a wolf in sheep's clothing. And they were. These are things that happen when we are looking at people and thinking that they will be fair or potentially they will share what they have been given. But spiritually, if you ain't living in accord to what the Creator wants you to be, then you ain't never going to see eye to eye or be able to give people what they think they should have. I've had different circumstances in my life when I had attained opportunity, and said opportunity brought forth financial resources. And there were those who helped at the beginning, but instead of actually working with the effort, they were pretending. And as a truth seeker and direct speaker, their pretending was not anything that I saw keeping the team winning. So I just had to do things in a way in which was in my best interest, not in their interest. Whether they thought to themselves, hey, you should be able to do this or do that for me because I was here then. But what happens when you was here then and then you start sabotaging the opportunity? Am I supposed to give to those who are truly taken away from what we can do and or say to increase? That didn't give me any peace internally. So I had to learn to be set apart. I had to learn that some folks you would love to work with, but some people you have to part ways because their spirit, their inner man does not command money. Their inner man commands foolishness. Their inner man commands recklessness. Their inner man commands adultery. And none of those things go with wealth. Those are all paths to poverty. And the only way I could be who the Creator wanted me to be was to set myself apart and cut myself off and restart and get away from those who wanted equality. They wanted everybody to be equals, but they didn't want the responsibility and the equity. They didn't want to take ownership of their own workmanship. They didn't truly want to be a stakeholder. They just wanted the resources that are typically set aside for a stakeholder, but they did not want the responsibilities of being a stakeholder. So when we couldn't get our mind to fit on what was the ways of doing things right, then we had to say totally goodnight to the availability of the syndicate that we could have created. Could our coin had been invested in Yahuwah blessed it? I'm sure. Could we had cash and did more for not just ourselves but the poor? I'm sure. And the interest-bearing accounts, If you did it correctly, would they have given us even more credit? Well, today we could have had credit lines in the multi-millions. I can almost definitely say that that could have been things that came our way. But had those resources been made available to us, were we spiritually ready for them? Like people talk about wanting money and going out and earning money and the things that they would do for their life to improve. But what about the true negatives of yourself that will only be enhanced with more resources? If your negatives were enhanced, would you even still be here today? Is your habits, is your desires that today they desires, but when you got money, they ain't desires no more. Now they direct influences in your life. I can remember getting my first real check when I started I'm Gonna Go Green. We did a workforce training program with the college from my hometown, and we were doing a training for job readiness, helping people get their lead certification, helping people get weatherization training skills, just helping people build up a green jobs career. And I can never forget the day they gave me the check for $37,500. And I had to take it to the bank. And I ended up going to multiple banks because some of the banks I went to, they just couldn't believe I had a check for $37,500. And never forget, spent half the day just trying to deposit the check. Like, I ain't even trying to cash the check. I just tried to deposit the check and they was giving me hell. So that was just something to remember. And I'll never forget that next morning, I woke up, my wife was bringing me the computer, and back then, it wasn't no Wi-Fi, man. Like, you had to dial up. It was one of them all-tail little L's that you put in your USB and it connected to the internet mobily. And I remember she checked the bank account and we checked it. As soon as I get up, I didn't even use the bathroom. Like, here's the computer, check the account. And check the account. And lo and behold, it said $37,502 because, I did have at least $2 in my account before I put the check in there. But I remember how the devil dealt with me when I had money like that for the first time. I went in, I took a shower, and everything was pretty normal until I got out the shower. And I never forgot going in the room where my closet and all my clothes was at. And that is when it happened. That was when I totally understood how the devil could take the good money that the Creator allowed you to earn and turn you to bad. Because I remember just looking at everything and feeling sad. And he just speaking to me in my own voice. That's how the devil really fool you. He'll talk to you in your own voice like, man, why you putting that shirt on? You got all this money and you got this kind of shirt on? You gonna put on these old drawers and socks? Those the pants you want to wear, man? Come on, let's go out and spend some bread. That's the car you gonna drive? Sure you don't need a new TV? Sure you, man, everywhere I went, he was just trying to get me to spend, recklessly. And I was like, well, I already have a strategic plan. I have it outlined that this is how I'm supposed to spend mine. This is how I'm supposed to spend time. Because they say time is money. So I hope you recognize that the fact that when you get money, it's supposed to be used to enhance your time. And if your time is enhanced, your life is enhanced. As long as you recognize that you want equity, not equality, ownership, to be a stakeholder, to start a syndicate, to have coin and cash. Bitcoin is what might be the thing that gets your interest all the way. So you got some credit and you can say, thank you, Heavenly Father. Hallelujah for giving me some literacy financially.